Hi folks, it's a very good evening from Alice Springs, Central Australia. Yeah, it is a good evening. It's a wonderful evening. And wherever you are, it's a good morning or a good afternoon. Oh yes, this is the second night of the curfew under emergency management strategies. The second night of what is planned to be a 2-week youth curfew in the CBD region of Alice Springs. Now, of course, this is a circuit breaker. It's not a long-term solution. I don't think it's meant to be, but it certainly is a circuit breaker. And it should be also a chance for us to plan for the future. As I was saying in an earlier episode, we need a recovery plan. We absolutely do. And that recovery plan should be about tackling the systemic issues which are leading to youth being on our streets and causing untold damage to people's lives, people's businesses, and to their own lives and to their own families' lives. Oh yes, there needs to be within this management strategy a plan for us to recover. There needs to be some sort of cultural conciliation between different Indigenous groups here in Alice Springs. And these a lot of these problems are caused from within the traditional tribe structure which still exists here in Central Australia. We must remember that Aboriginal culture, when we discovered it, there were 550 nations here in Australia, across Australia. They are all autonomous from one another, and very often they were at war with one another. I mean, that's the truth of it. We didn't come along and disrupt a harmonious collective. No, we didn't. And that tradition has continued until today. There are still family groups. There are still many languages, and a lot of them descend upon Alice Springs. Yes, we're the service town for 200 separate communities. So if we take all of this into consideration, when they are at war, when there is a dispute, there needs to be a better way to manage this within a town like Alice Springs. There does. And it needs to be driven by Indigenous leaders. That's right, the cultural leaders who can sort these things out before they escalate to what we saw the other day on our streets in Alice Springs and for the many days before that. Yeah, many of the disputes here in Central Australia have got absolutely nothing to do with Indigenous and non-Indigenous discourse. No, nothing to do with it whatsoever. So if you do read that anywhere, any place, it's wrong. It's simply wrong. 95% of the violence in this town is Indigenous toward one another. That is the simple, plain truth. So a recovery plan needs to get those people together, those cultural leaders together, to come up with solutions of dispute management and handling those disputes in a better and less violent and less destructive manner. And of course, there also needs to be support for families, to ensure that we can build better families within Indigenous communities. They do need assistance in this area, whether we like it or not, they do. And once again, this should be led by their cultural leaders. And of course there needs to be the rollout of this housing program that was announced the other day needs to happen very, very fast. It does. Because there's no point in getting someone off the street if there's nowhere to take them, or if the somewhere is totally overcrowded or unsuitable. Yeah, that does need to be tackled, no question about that. I also would like to see some form of triage centre set up. I did speak about this in an earlier podcast where I said that maybe we could get a sponsor for this. Maybe someone like Sony PlayStation could set it up in one of our local indoor facilities here, fully equipped with sleeping bags, etc. But a games centre that is indoors and that does not allow kids to be able to go outside whenever they feel like it and get onto the streets would be very enticing, I'm certain, for the youth. But it will also act as a great facility for triaging these kids. That's right, getting them the family help, emotional help, physical help that they need. And or I might add, maybe there are some who definitely are on the edge of criminality, and so therefore they need help of a very different type. It's called discipline. And discipline should be spared from nobody, no matter what's your colour. Yeah, discipline should be spared from nobody. In fact, it's not an act of love to do so. It's not. Discipline is love. It is love. Setting boundaries is love. Giving instruction is love. And so too, giving mentorship, that's also love. Yeah, so these are the things that need to be in a recovery plan. I also think maybe a youth dividend system where we do a deal with the youth. If you want a skate park or facilities such as that, will help us bring the crime rate down. Yeah, don't keep committing crimes. Don't keep assaulting people on our streets. Don't keep using indecent language on our streets. Don't keep soiling our streets. No, don't do that. And if you can help us reducing those occurrences, then yeah, the dividend for you will be something like a skate park. Yeah, so these are the sorts of things that I think we need to turn our attention toward. Positive solutions. As far as the curfew is concerned, well, I think if it works for the next 2 weeks, it should be extended. As I said, and a part of this extension would be a triage facility. That would be enticing to get involved with. Call it the game. We'll come up with a name. It doesn't matter at this stage, but yeah, the play-in centre. There you go. Not the stay-in centre, the play-in centre. And as I said, let's get Sony PlayStation involved. I have mentioned this before, but I think it's now time for it to occur. 100% I do. When I get back from Melbourne on Monday, remembering that there'll be no broadcast over this weekend, as I will be in Melbourne, when I do get back on Monday, I intend getting in touch with the Mayor's office and sitting down with him perhaps and writing directly to Sony PlayStation. It's time. It's right now. Yeah, that's right. We need to get these things done. No more talking. It's about the doing. All right, this has been episode 839, a Blind Magic Communications production.